Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. Thank you for tuning in for another action-packed show this week. As in this week's episode, I'm joined by my co-host Kristina Bloom, and we're going to be discussing the topic of the origins of spiritual gifts. Also in this week's episode, we have the channeling from the world of spirit, which sees myself becoming a vessel for spirit to bring their wisdom and communications through. And then later on in this episode, we have this week's energy forecast reading, which will hopefully help you navigate your way through the course of this week ahead. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce this episode. As I say, we're talking about the origins of spiritual gifts. So welcome, Kristina Bloom. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you, Glenn. I'm great. Life is moving very quickly these days, so a lot going on.
I see from your online posts that you've been doing a lot of traveling. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I've been doing vending, actually. I have vendor tables at a bunch of different conferences, paranormal conferences, psychic and wellness fairs, mind, body, spirit fairs, expos. It's just every weekend, literally every weekend, I'm somewhere else. And I spent this last weekend in Minnesota, and I realized your listeners have no idea what that means. But it was about an 8-hour drive each way to get there and back. And really, really good stuff.
That's excellent. So you're inspiring a lot of people and giving that healing to where it's needed.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. Yeah.
Beautiful. Very interesting. So we're going to discuss, like I say, the origins of spiritual gifts. Obviously, you're a psychic medium, spiritual medium. I do that myself as well. So it would be nice to compare both of our journeys and also see the comparisons between the two, So I think I'm going to pose this question to you first, Kristina. Do you think that we all have spiritual or psychic gifts?
Absolutely. I feel like at the very least, we all have some sort of intuition. We might approach it differently, but I feel like we all have it. And actually, that is the basis for my Intuitive You program, is that we all have it. It's a matter of figuring out or recognizing, is a better word, I think, recognizing the way it works for us and then deciding how we want to use it after we figure that out.
So that's interesting. Yeah, I agree with you there.
Some people see, some people hear, some people feel, some people smell, some people just thoughts pop into their heads, so it does work different for different people.
Definitely. And there's people that don't consider themselves having these abilities that will say, I know what's going to happen on this TV show, even though I've never seen it before. It's live as it's happening on the TV, and they could tell you the plot, and they don't realize that they're connecting into that energy there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
But yeah, I agree with you. There's lots of different abilities, isn't there? And it's interesting now in this timeline that we're both in 2024, that there's a more of an acceptance for this type of work that yourself and I do.
I agree. Yeah, it makes life so much easier. When I started doing this 23 years ago, it was considered a lot more woo-woo, a lot more like, what's wrong with you kind of stuff,
Why are you wearing tie-dye clothes, that kind of thing.
I think I've always done that.
Yeah.
I like the tie-dye.
Yeah,
bring out all the colors at once.
Yeah, me too. So, another question. I feel like please do throw questions my way if any pop in. Why do you think we have spiritual gifts?
I feel like...
Or abilities, shall we say.
abilities. Yeah, I feel like it's a spiritual guidance system. It's almost like a GPS for life.
Oh, I like that. Can you get your friend to do that on a T-shirt?
Oh, I'm sure she could. I'm sure she could. Yeah. All I have to do is hand her the words. She'll come up with design to make a really cool T-shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah, but I really feel like we have this because it helps us get through life. It helps us just get a heads up sometimes. Like when you're going somewhere and you had a set idea of which way you wanted to go, what route you wanted to take, and then you get like this feeling like, no, I should go a different way.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. That's the spiritual guidance that we get to help us get through life. Simple things like that too, but also more complicated things. So
it's also, we're connecting into our true nature. I mean, if we observe the wildlife kingdom there as well, I mean, how many times have you seen, they say that when you see a cow lie down, they know that either a thunderstorm or rain is about to come. And so they prepare themselves for that. And it's almost as if, we have these for a reason, like you say, to navigate our way through life. So we flow.
Yeah.
And move with flow and source energy.
I think so. So I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Is this ability something that is genetic in your family? Is it something that runs in your family?
I believe so. I only know 2 generations back. The first one is my mum, and they call it mother's instinct, don't they? She's never explored her spiritual gifts and, developed them to the level that yourself and I have. But she always has a feeling about things. I've got a feeling about that person. They're not a nice person. Or I've got a feeling in my waters. That's what she used to say. Feeling in my waters that's not going to work out right. And, 9 times out of 10, she's always been correct. So my mum's always been doing that ever since I was small. And, we used to poke fun at her and laugh at her. And she used to, like I said earlier, with the TV show, she could tell you how it's going to end, and it's a brand new episode. And this is before we had streaming, video recorders, or any of that. So,
right,
but her mum apparently read tea leaves, and she used to do that quite a lot. And I think her mum's mum, her grandma, did something similar. And so there's always been that sort of intrigue into, this sort of work that we do. And they had their own methods, obviously. And I feel as though it's kind of passed down from generation to generation, the techniques, how to read tea leaves. But with me saying that, it never was passed down to me. So I've never read tea leaves, but I do read things and do all other things. I
have instructions on how to read tea leaves.
I don't drink tea, so there's no interest there with me.
There you go. Well, you can drink. If you drink coffee, you can read coffee grounds too.
I don't drink that either.
Oh wow. Okay. Well,
hot chocolate all the way for me.
Well, there you go. You've never done a chocolate reading?
No, because I'm a bit of a chocolate monster, so it's not around too long for it to be read. It's normally eaten.
I've done chocolate readings.
Okay.
Where you have like a bar of chocolate, like a solid bar. It has to be a solid bar.
Right.
And so, you don't want to hold it in your hands and put energy in because it's chocolate, it will melt. Yeah. But you have the person, think their question and put their energy into it, and then they pick it up and they smack it on the table, and then you open it up and you read the cracks in the chocolate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you interpret that. Yeah. I can see how that could work.
Yeah.
I was thinking along the lines that you do a form of psychometry with the chocolate, but you eat it instead of holding it.
Well, you do get to eat your reading.
I'm feeling sick. I've just ate a giant bar.
I just had this big bar of chocolate. Now I'm feeling sick. Yes.
Yeah. But just to turn the question round on yourself, have you got any spiritual lineage in your family tree?
I think I do, but
okay.
I don't think anyone else recognizes it. I feel like it's one of those things that as I have developed my own abilities, I see it in others. So like my mom's mom, maternal grandmother was very intuitive. Like she would just go, like she would get a shudder and then she would be like, yeah, we're not going today. Like, you know, even if it was to church, and they were Catholic, you know, so if she got a shudder, she would say, nope, we're not going, which was fine with my grandfather. He would just as soon go back to bed anyway. But, you know, it was just one of those things where she would just get a feeling about something, and then she would make a decision based on that feeling, and she would do it very quickly. I would have to say my dad was pretty intuitive, which I didn't recognize until well into my adulthood. But yeah, he would just, I think I get this from him too. He was a mechanic, and he could, like, just a car would go down the road and he'd be like, that car's going to throw a rod, like a rod in the engine. Or he could just sense it, hear it. I'm not sure what he did. But I seem to have that ability too with cars, which is weird, but I'm sure I got it from him.
Wow, that's fascinating. And they didn't,
I know.
They didn't recognize that they had these abilities. It was just, that's who they were. That's how they saw it.
That's just who they were. Yeah. And no one else seemed to recognize it in them either. It was just in hindsight that I've recognized it.
Whoa, that's fascinating. Which leads me on to another question. When did you first notice that you had spiritual gifts or abilities?
That was actually noticed by someone else.
Okay.
I was a toddler, and I would have dreams and wake up crying. And it was the same dream. I had the same dream 6 times, and every single time I had the dream, someone in my family that I didn't know, usually in Scandinavia, had died.
Wow.
And that's when I would have the dream. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
Yeah.
At that age as well. Crikey.
Right. It started then, and it went until I was 11 or 12.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was through my whole childhood. Nobody ever really questioned it. And I didn't know the difference. I didn't know other people didn't have this. Like, to me, it was normal.
Yeah.
Right. And my family never treated it as anything other than normal. It wasn't like, you know, outwardly encouraging, but it wasn't discouraging. It was like, oh, that's just who she is. You know, so.
Oh, that's good. That's good that there was that level of acceptance there. Because you do hear the stories where it's drummed out of children. You know, what are you being like that for? No, you've made that up. You know, it's an imaginary friend. I mean, how many times have we heard that? Well, you obviously haven't growing up.
Well, I mean, that phrase was thrown around too, but it was kind of accepted that all kids had imaginary friends. And so that wasn't actually treated as weird either.
Oh, that's interesting. I like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. My brothers had imaginary friends. I think my brothers both have it. Both of my kids definitely. Yeah. And I think I feel like I'm the one who opened the door to say it's okay to have this. It's okay to be this way.
A way shower. You as a way shower.
Yeah, apparently I am.
You took one for the team.
I did.
Bless you.
I feel like you did too, because, you know, your kids, you've shared stories about your daughters and how they're like, oh, Dad, there's a guy on the stairs. Do you want to deal with this? Or, you know, I mean, you've shared those stories. So
yeah, it is interesting. I've probably like yourself, I've never sort of forced it upon my 2 daughters. They've grew up around me doing it, obviously. And I'm just matter of fact about it. What are you doing that for, Dad? And I explain to them, and there's an acceptance from them. There's no fear there. Although when they do feel those energies, as you've said there, and they're a little bit unsure, they'll always run downstairs or come over to Dad and, like you say, get me over there. What's happening? I've just seen this.
Yeah.
So
same with my kids. I never forced it on them. You know, I grew up going to bars and, you know, not in the most positive light. And of course, my dad was in a band. So, you know, if they didn't have a babysitter, they put me on the stage with a tambourine and kept the microphones far away from me. But, but it was like my kids grew up in metaphysical stores. They grew up in around crystals and, tarot cards and whatever else it was that I was doing. So it was just a different childhood for them where it was just normal.
Wow. Yeah, that's nice that they felt comfortable in those environments, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
And definitely much healthier than taverns and
oh yeah, for sure.
That sort of thing.
You hear some colourful language and
oh yeah.
I've watched the Blues Brothers films and I've seen the stages with the chicken wire and chairs being thrown at them and the bottles. So, or is that just Hollywood amping it up?
Oh, that is Hollywood. Please don't think that's like normal American behavior. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's Hollywood.
Oh, that's
it took place in Chicago, which actually is only 2 hours from me, but that's Hollywood.
Wow. Well, I'll just share with you when I first noticed the spiritual gifts. For me, I've always known I'm slightly different, obviously. And I just used to get overwhelmed with feelings, and I'd be the sort of person that squirrel myself away from everybody just to be comfortable in my own skin and get relaxed again. But initially it was all ramping up to when I was 18. That's the full awakening. But I did have experiences around 15, not long after my granddad passed away. And me and my friend was sitting at the dinner table at my parents' house. And all of a sudden we both sitting on this particular chair that my granddad used to sit on. Every time he used to visit, every Monday, he'd sit on this particular chair. And my friend said, "Oh, I'm absolutely boiling." And he was taking his jumper off. His face was going bleacher beacon red. And I was like, whoa, it's not even hot in here. So I said, let me sit on that chair. Anyway, I sat on the chair. The same thing happened to me. Went bright red and all this tingly feeling. And I was aware that it was my granddad. That was his chair. His energy was still on there. I didn't understand what was going off. At 15, I was very ignorant to this sort of stuff. I just felt that's quite weird, that is, and then carried on with what we was doing. But I'd say that was the first sort of time I noticed that tingling feeling of spirit around and the change in temperature for me there. I've got to ask you as well, putting you under the spotlight tonight, Kristina.
Okay.
What spiritual gift came first? Now, there's many, isn't there, to choose from?
There are, and I feel like, I don't even know if it's different gifts. I think it just manifests differently. But I would have to say the dreams, the prophetic dreams as a child. And then as I moved through my teenage years, and I feel like I need to throw in there, like that's only part of my story because addiction is a huge thing in my family. And I was born addicted to alcohol. And so there's like this whole addiction aspect that went along with it. And growing up in an addictive home and realizing that my parents pretty much were oblivious to everything, that if I was imbibing in alcohol, the spirits would leave me alone. Not true. It just got scary, but I tried. I just tried to hide from it, especially after other kids at school were going, just stop being weird. Will you please just stop being weird? And I'm like, I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Yeah, it's normal.
I didn't know what it meant to not be weird. And so, there was a whole addiction thing and a whole recovery from addiction where I've been clean and sober since I was 17. And that's when I really had to start looking at what am I seeing? What am I hearing? There were no mentors for that, but I had to come to terms with it in order to stay clean and sober because that's the reason I used in the first place.
Okay.
I didn't want to hear the voices.
Yeah, I understand that.
So my awakening came at about the same time yours did, around 18, because that's when I was really, really having to embrace my gifts and learn how to work with them.
So even at that age, did you find that you wanted to still live that normal life? You wanted to...
I tried.
Hang with your friends and everything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. I tried. I know you'd probably tried too. I mean, what else do you do? I mean, you're 18, you're in a society. What do? You try to be normal, whatever that means.
Yeah.
You try to fit in. You try to, I don't know, is there a better word for that?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. We're conditioned, aren't we, with society's structuring, that this is what you do. You leave school, you get a job, you get married, you get a home, and there's all these things, and it's not factored or spoke upon, is it? This, the true essence of who we are, and it's not taught in any school, as such, any, standard school. It's not mentioned at all, is it? And also the creative aspect of the creative mind within someone like yourself and myself and other people that are high vibrational, that's not encouraged either. It seems from my perspective, you were told you're living in a dream world. You need to get real. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to follow the prescribed pathway that most people take anyway.
I'm telling you, if I had $1 for every time somebody said, get your head out of the clouds, I would never have had to work at anything. People told me that all the time, get your head out of the clouds. Well, I couldn't help it. It was like the messages were coming. I could see things other people couldn't see, like you, it's around you. You notice it. And so how did you deal with that? How did you, out there in the normal world, the world of the normal people, how did you deal with having that?
Probably like you've been describing, just recalling back, I was a bit of a party animal in my day. And like you, I used to quieten those voices down and that communication down with going out, partying, alcohol. And, I was, let's say I was a very fun guy to be around. I'd have a laugh, I'd have a joke, and I wasn't nasty with it at all. But it just reached a point where, it wasn't sort of fulfilling anymore. You was always reaching out for something better, and nothing better other than like listening, giving time and space to those voices. And then I had a series of events that kept happening. So I had no option but to listen to spirit and connect in and have that communication and develop.
Right.
And so, the lifestyle had to change, which I'm touch wood. I'm so blessed that did work out the way it did. But having said that, probably like yourself, I have an understanding for people that do live that lifestyle, and I'm not judging them by saying this, but I think because I've gone through that myself, it gives me that understanding, that empathy, so that when I do work with clients in that situation, I can then sort of give that information knowing where they're at, if you know what I mean.
I do know exactly what you mean, yeah.
So I try to carry on with life, the work, going out, partying, coming back home, work again, and it's like a rat race. It's a cycle, isn't it? And so eventually I took to automatic writing, which led me on my journey to psychic art and then clairaudience. It's like a daisy chain of events, probably like yourself there. Once you honoured one of them, you then factored in that into your daily life, and then another one would come in when that energy built up. So that's the way. It was frustrating. Probably like you, when I first had that understanding of this is what was happening with spirit, I got really excited, and I was telling everybody, I can do this. I'm hearing this. I've seen that. And of course, like, they're not on the same page as you. And I got ridiculed. I got laughed at. And that shut me down again. So I went through phases of opening up closing down and listening to what everybody else was saying. And then eventually, after all this time, it's like, no, there's nothing else I can do. This is what I'm meant to be doing.
Right. That's what it came to for me too. I couldn't hold down a job. Spirit was always talking to me. When you get a calling like that, there's no ignoring it. Good luck. You can try. I tried for a couple of years, and one of these days I'm just going to sit down and make a list of all the weird jobs I've had. But, it's just because I kept trying to find something, I kept trying to find something. And this is what it boiled down to. This is what I came to this planet to do in this lifetime.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
What else was I going to ask you? Did your family and friends ever encourage your spiritual gifts and abilities? We kind of glossed over that earlier in the conversation, but
yeah, I think friends more than family.
Okay.
Yeah, family didn't discourage it; they just didn't encourage it. They just, you are the way you are.
Oh, that level of acceptance, then.
Yeah, I mean, I have cousins who are more in my age range who, as we got older, went through college, had our kids, blah, 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 that now it's like, oh, when are we going to go ghost hunting? Or, can you come over? My house feels weird. Can you come over and read the energy? So it's like I've got that kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
But that took a while to get to that point.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I assume it's similar for you, that you got encouragement from friends more than family, or was it just kind of...
I got a lot of ridicule from friends because...
oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, and that's what put the shutters down. And then it was only through making new friends on a similar path to myself that I built up that confidence again. And with their sort of expertise and their help and encouragement, that's where it came from. But once that was nurtured in that respect, and the family started to see that, I was taking it seriously and there was something there. There's always that sort of intrigue with the family, interest, but there's a little bit of fear there. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want to see that. And don't speak about anything like that around us, will you? Because it freaks me out.
We only want to hear about the good stuff. We don't want to hear about any negative stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So they do encourage me now, and I feel very blessed that that they do listen and have that understanding and just let me live the way that I live. Really, I'm the weird one of the family, but hey ho, someone's got to carry that. That can, haven't they?
Instead of the black sheep, you're the tie-dye sheep.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah, definitely.
I do want to address, though, what you were saying about, when you got different friends who are more on the path and encouraging you. I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand when they first start going through the spiritual awakening. And then all of a sudden, it's like everybody's gone. Like, friends are gone.
It can
family
be
step back.
Yeah, quite a lonely experience, a lonely journey.
It can be, but the thing is that it makes room for new people. And throughout your whole experience, like, your friends are going to change a lot, very often. Yeah. Especially when you're in rapid growth. Your friends will change often. That's
the thing as well. We need that space to do the inner work, the inner healing, remove all that inner conditioning to ascend. And continue on the spiritual path, don't we? So it's like a double-edged sword in many respects.
It is.
But a very rewarding one, just to be connected to Source, really, and to share that energy and information with others. It's such an honor.
It really is. And as we're going through this, our vibration changes, our frequency changes. And then we attract people who are more in that frequency. And the lower, or I don't want to say lower and upper because that sounds judgmental, but we do move through different frequencies as we grow spiritually. And so the people who come into our lives are at that frequency, and people who are no longer vibing at that frequency tend to just fall away. Or maybe just not spend as much time, or,
I say it's nothing personal, is it? It's energy. No. It's how energy works there. And so, just send that love and light to those individuals that are no longer in your life. Usually they come back, when they've ascended and caught up, they come back in, and then it's like in and out, isn't it, sort of thing?
In and out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
Kristina, we're coming to the end. This we haven't even scratched the surface, if we're honest, have we?
Not even close. Not even close.
But I'd like you just to obviously share where people can find you, where they can contact you for any of your support, guidance, or readings there. How can they find you?
Okay. I am on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, my website, KristinaBloom.com. And I also just want to put in plug for you. I listen to your weekly forecast every week.
Bless you.
As soon as it pops up on my phone, I listen to it. And you are dead on every single time.
Well, thank you for that. It's the guys and girls upstairs, in spirit that do it all. I just hold that space and let the information come through.
Understand that. Yeah. I just want to put that plug out there for you because it's accurate.
Thank you. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Can you tell the audience where you're going to be? Because you said you're going to be standing at various events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see. This weekend on Saturday, I will be in Iola, Wisconsin. Okay. That is a psychic expo, and I'll be doing a gallery reading there, in addition to doing private readings. The following day, I will be 4 more hours away at Cable, Wisconsin, which almost nobody's heard of, but it's way up in the northwestern corner. And I will be doing readings and I think a gallery there as well. And then the following weekend, I will be in Escanaba, Michigan, which is in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And I will be at the Hiawatha Health and Wellness event.
So, wow. Very busy bee indeed. So if anybody's
listening... That rounds out April.
Anybody's listening that wants to go to those events and meet Kristina in person and have a reading or experience the gallery readings, please do attend. You won't be disappointed. Well, Kristina, it's been a blessing as ever to talk to you today. Thank you so much for coming on, and it's been a really interesting deep dive. You have a fantastic week, and I look forward to our next adventure forward.
Awesome. Thank you. You too.
Well, as ever, I really enjoy connecting with Kristina. It's amazing how the universe got us together and aligned us. We seem to have so much in common, and I really just enjoy our conversation. So I hope you did as much as we do. Anyway, we're going to be moving on to the next segment of the show, which is this week's channeling from the world of spirit, which sees me becoming a vessel for spirit to bring forward their wisdom and communications through. This is where I sit in trance in the silence and allow them to blend their frequencies and energies through in order for this to occur. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's channeling from spirit.
Hello there. We'd like to talk about the healing processes that it takes in order to you walking on your current trajectory, moving into another beautiful timeline in your life. There's a lot of going through some dramatic changes in their lives at this moment in time. Now, this involves a lot of those past hurts being dealt with, a lot of those emotions coming up. Now, these emotions, they're so intensified that to some extent they will have a physical detribute or attribute to your physicality. In other words, you will sense and feel various parts of your body going through elements of trauma. Now, this is an opportunity for you to do the inner healing on yourself when you do, or if you allow it to get to this level of discomfort. However, at this moment in time, there's a lot of you that need this direct healing. And we can only work. I say we, I'm referring to the angelic realm, and I'm referring to spirit guides and helpers. We can only work with your beautiful energy in order to heal you if you ask for it. So we encourage you not to suffer in the silence. We encourage you to speak and and also to ask us for our help. And it will be given to you in ways that you can't begin to imagine. We work on a cellular basis. We work on a frequency and energy basis. And we get to the root cause of the issue. And we help to realign, remove those issues, and realign you to your true essence, which is perfect, unconditional love. But in order to get to that, a lot of these things will be coming up. Having said this, there's a lot of mental and emotional conditioning and trauma that you've all been going through on some degree, shape or form. Now, a lot of you don't realize that you've been going through this process throughout your lives. And it's been drip-fed to you so that it was not so obvious that this is what was occurring. Nevertheless, we say to you that we are around you and we are here to support and help and guide you. All we ask is that you ask and give us that permission to step in and help you to heal and remove these past versions of yourself that have no place in your present or future moment consciousness. Now also, at this moment in time, there's a lot of you that have been mulling things over in your mind. And what we mean by that is your current set of circumstances that you are facing is no longer to your liking anymore. At one time, it was an aspiration to get where you are in your present moment. However, now you feel like the ascension process has taken hold, and in doing so, you no longer feel the need to hang on to old energies, and you're wanting to ascend to different facets, to different plateaus in your life. And so we're referring to there will be a lot of you that will be slightly annoyed about where you're at in your present moment consciousness. And we say to those that are listening that are going through that, again we remind you to ask us for help. We can then intervene, release a lot of those attachments, and also project into you future timelines. Now, it is of your choosing, because of free will and your intentions, which timeline and pathway you wish to tread upon. But again, if you ask for it, we will indeed come in and help you and put you on that right path and that calling. You will find yourself going through a big transformation in your life, going through this process, as not only you are letting go emotionally and mentally, but also there's going to be people in your social circle. Perhaps you've known them for years and they've been part of your support network on one way, shape or form. Nevertheless, some of these people will be moving out of your vista for the time being once you make this transition into the next timeline. Now, as always, it's always a choice whether you reconnect or continue to walk on these new timelines. The choice is obviously yours. But there's a lot of this that's occurring at this moment in time on the earth plane. 2024, as we've said on many occasions, is a very prominent year for your Earth's history. In order for all of this, not only is it happening to you, but it's happening to your planet as a whole, where all of these misalignments, doctrinizations, and untruths are being flashed out in order to bring forward and to connect you to the truth and the essence. Many of you will have heard the concept of the splitting of the timelines. This is what we're referring to, obviously. There's going to be a lot of confusion moving forward in 2024, moving up to 2026, and it's going to reach a crescendo. But those of you that are listening to this transmission will have had the experience of going through this. And so you are way showers, you are light workers, leaders, shall we say, whether you consider yourself that or not. You're going through what you're going through in order to impart your wisdom and guidance on the ears and on the eyes and minds and lives of others. So it makes it more easier for them to go forward. But there is no way around it anymore. At one time there was. Now there's only through, going through it in order to get to your destination. There'll be many people that won't be able to understand the impact of the energetic alignments and also the confusions of the mind, playing tricks on you. And this is just, we say, these old energies feeding back on themselves. We ask you to connect in with your heart at all times, and again to remind you once more to ask for help, ask for guidance. We are always here in order to help you. You wouldn't believe if we began to describe to you the amount of effort that we place in the background, behind the scenes. As I'm sure with your earthly mind you can at least imagine that there's all of those connections fed to you, such as your family, your friends, your social circle, your family moving back on your timeline in history, your ancestry. And then there's your future ancestry that you're not aware of yet. Obviously, we've said this many times, there's no such thing as time. It's a human concept. And everything is always happening in your now, present moment. And it's where you shift and place your focus upon is going to be your experience. So with that being said, all of the answers, all of the power, all of the healing is happening in your present moment consciousness. So tapping into that and being aligned with the earth, being grounded, being charged up with that beautiful energy that is around your earth plane will help you to reassess and realign in your present moment of what is serving your highest good, your highest potential, and also the potential of your family lineage. As we've said, you cannot see and imagine everything that's going on behind the scenes, behind your experience that we are doing in order for it to align with everyone else and all the other experiences, the other lifetimes, your soul's journey. There's a lot to consider. And this is why we're not bringing the details forward of that, because it will simply not compute in your human mind. The way that the human mind thinks, it thinks in a way where it has to have a start, a middle, and an end. And we say that what we're referring to has none of those three components. It all is. It just is. And we understand that that would cause a lot of confusion to get your mind around that concept. It all is. It just is. So we hope this has given you some, at least, encouragement of what is happening in and around your planet and with yourselves on an individual basis. And we hope it's given you that courage to ask and call out to your spirit guides, your helpers, your angels, whatever your belief system is. call out to the world of the unseen with your purest intentions and instructions, and the guidance and healing will be given to you. We cannot interject without your say-so, so it is very much in your own hands. We thank you, we send you our love, and to complete this transmission, we'd like to end with a little bit of sound healing that will also encourage this and kickstart this healing process within you. Thank you for listening. Goodbye for now.
What a fantastic transmission again from the world of spirit. I really enjoyed that. It's nice to hear that we're all going on an ascension path and healing our vibrations, and observe the emotions that are coming up to the surface there as well. Also notice our physical body, maybe some aches and pains or irritations. Maybe question that as well before we jump to conclusions. As they say, this is part of this process there as well. And interestingly enough, you know, if all of us will be going through this on some level, shape or form, ask your spirit guides, ask the angel for help, for healing and guidance through this process there as well. People moving out of our lives there, maybe old friends are starting to tread their own path there, and you're finding yourself having extra space in your life. Also, recognizing that all the untruths are going to be flushed out, and then the splitting of the collective timeline. Very interesting indeed. And also the sound healing there at the end. I love that. My ears were ringing, my throat chakra was moving, my heart chakra, front and back of my heart was being worked upon, spine tingling, and also the lower part of my legs were tingling, and I noticed my ankles were cold and the soles of my feet were getting really hot. So a lot of releasements there with that sound healing. Anyway, we're going to be moving on to the next segment of the show, which is this week's energy forecast reading. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's reading. Hello, my name is Glenn Boddice and I'm a spiritual medium, and welcome to this week's energy forecast reading for the week commencing Monday the 22nd of April 2024. Now, those of you that watched me work before will know that I connect with my spirit team and my spirit guides, and also consult the wisdom of the angel tarot cards. So what I'm going to do is just shuffle the pack and allow a card to come out for this week's energy forecast reading. So this is your card for this week's reading. I'm now going to link into the energy of that. First of all, I'm being told to tell you to watch out for your communications this week, whether that's over messengers, social media, whether that's text, whether it's emails or even a phone conversation, or even in person. I just feel as though you need to be clear, concise, and so both parties or all parties know where they stand with this communication. I'm being told to trust your gut instinct also this week, as there's going to be some misalignments with like I say, with communications. And so it's telling you that read between the lines. Even though you're hearing certain words, there's a different dialogue and energy behind those words that you need to be connecting in with. Also pay attention, as I feel that this week is going to be blessed with some beautiful inspirations, some new ideas, and you're going to have an abundance of energy, and you're going to be wanting to get out and about more. You're just going to feel like you need to be discovering, you need to be going on adventures, or even just having that change of scenery, something alternative to your current environment. I feel that's also going to inspire you as well. I'm being told to watch out for some tension that you may be finding yourself under, and I feel as though this is whilst you wake up in the morning, and they're telling me about tension around the jawline there. And it's almost as if that when you have been asleep, you've been working on yourself on a subconscious level, on a soul level, to the point where all of that tension that has built up within you is finally being released whilst you sleep. So if you find yourself waking up in the morning feeling rather peculiar, like I say, that ache around the jaw, and also just feeling a little bit more lethargic than perhaps you normally would, then just be gentle with yourself, as this is your higher self doing some healing work with your vessel, with you as an individual, whilst you are sleeping there. I'm also being shown actually that there's going to be some prospects coming your way this week. This could be in the form of some information such as an email, or an invitation such as a message or something like that. I feel as though there's positive things coming your way this week. In terms of your heart chakra this week, it is going to be taking a few knocks, and I'm hearing the word bruised ego. So with me hearing that, it's telling you to actually connect in on a soul level rather than what your mind is telling you of the reality of a situation. Connecting on a soul level will help you transcend those bruises around the heart and the emotions there. However, with me saying this, I'm being encouraged to tell you to continue to vibrate high, continue to be your beautiful self, and show up in the world with a smile and a spring in your step. And I'm being told that in terms of love and romance, the energy is going to be reciprocated when you least expect it. So don't put a deadline or a timeline on this. I feel as though it is coming in incrementally for you. So let's turn over the card and see what the card has to say for you. So at the top of the card, we've got 8 of air. So I'd like you to research the angel number 8. As that, I feel, will give you some additional content and information. Also, to me, it represents that you're coming towards an end of a cycle there. And I feel as though this is in terms of the cycle of being in that vibration of lack. You're moving into a new vibration of abundance. So watch out for that changing. In an actual fact, if we turn the number 8 on its side, it's the infinity symbol there as well, which would also lead to karma and the end of certain karmic cycles that you've been going through within your life there. Now, air to me represents being bright and breezy, and also having a clear mind rather than clogging it up with lots of nonsense that perhaps you've heard. Maybe it's gossip, maybe it's something that you've heard via a media source there, but it certainly feels like there's a clearing that's going to be happening with you vibrationally and mentally this week. I'm being told that you'll become increasingly forgetful about what you're doing in your present moment, and this is because you're not meant to hold on to those energies. You're meant to allow energy to flow to and through you rather than you harboring and holding on to it. So underneath that, we've got the words at the bottom: self-doubt, confusion, free will. This self-doubt that it speaks about is this wrestling match between your mind, your ego mind, and the truth of who you are in your heart, your soul connection there. So it's finding that place, finding that balancing place. Obviously, we need to make choices in life. We use our choices from our mental state there, but also you've got to follow that intention from your heart in order to govern you, in order to catapult you to make these choices. Confusion, I feel as though that will come on the lines, as we've said previously, about communications. There's going to be one thing that's going to be said, but the energy behind that isn't tallying up right. So there's something not ringing true with what's said and what is felt. So watch out for that, as we've already said. And of course, we've got free will. So it doesn't matter what anybody else imposes on you. You have the final decision. So it's telling you this week, take your power back and don't be afraid to say no to certain people. You have that responsibility for your own light, your own life. And so if something doesn't feel comfortable with you, then you have that opportunity to say no there. So let's take a look into the artwork. We've got the colour of blue around the edge. To me, that represents emotions. We spoke about you getting healed whilst you've been sleeping. And also would represent communications, as we've already been talking about there. And allowing them to flow clearly. Maybe allow your emotions to come through in the communications rather than hiding behind a veil there. I feel that's what that is talking about. Looking into the artwork, we've got this feminine energy there. To me, feminine, talking about the sensitive side. The fact that this feminine energy is looking rather shivering cold, she's all wrapped up there, it's also telling you not to ignore that sensitive side of you, your intuition there as well. And know that you are safe, you are protected. So if you do feel a little bit threatened, like exposed, whatever, then know that you are protected not only by your higher self, but by your spirit guides and soul family there in the world of spirit. So watch out for that this week. There's, as you can see, there's 8 swords there in front of her. So that's talking about cutting cords. And cutting cords, I feel in this case, is connecting to thoughts that you've had, anticipations about your future, desires about your future that haven't come into form. It hasn't been realized yet. And I feel as though this is telling you to cut those cords to those non-events that haven't happened yet, that maybe you've attached to mentally in your mind. This is what's slowing your manifestation processes down. Just be a clear and open vessel and be open to opportunity finding you rather than you chasing it and designing it there. There's a sunlight in the background there that would indicate blessings coming in. And again, you've just got to sit tight and be ready for them coming in. And to say yes or no, again, going back to that of free will. So you have the choice at any moment in time. Leaving footprints there in the snow. This is you actually taking that leadership role as well. And actually taking one for the team and going first. And notice how people start to emulate your behaviours and your processes, so they will feel comfortable in stepping forward. So honour that. So that's what I picked up for you for this week. Thank you for hearting, liking, commenting and sharing. If you've enjoyed this reading and you would like to help us and support the work that I do, I have got a Buy Me a Coffee link above or below this video, which is a virtual tip jar. So all of your generous donations will be used in accordance with the spiritual work that I do to help people raise their vibration and ascend on their pathway. If you would like any of my services, readings, whatever, go over to my website, www.glenboddicespiritualmedium.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium, and message me there. Join me every Monday with my radio show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice, talking about all things spiritual, paranormal, and self-help, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on www.pulsetalkradio.com. Have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye for now.
Well, it sounds like we're all set for a very interesting week this week. A lot of self-reflection and also some bruised egos there with the emotions. I'm sure we've all been through that at some part in our life. So it's nice to know that, we can repair those hurts there and move forward. Also with the beautiful energies that are coming into our life. So I hope that aligns with you. I hope you've enjoyed this week's show as much as I have and Kristina has in bringing it forward for you, and of course the guides as well. So join me next week, the same place, same time, 4 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on www.pulsetalkradio.com with this very show From Beyond with Glenn Boddice. Please join me there. Have a fantastic week and I look forward to your company. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice Spiritual Medium